What's up, everybody? Trip Smith here on YouTube, and I hope you all are doing fantastic today. I'm doing pretty good myself. I don't know, kind of had a workout this morning. The CrossFit Open 18.4 with some heavy 315-pound deadlifts that I stopped. About 2.5 minutes left. I stopped. It was just too heavy, and now my back's a little tight, but that's okay. Nothing I can't work through. So, thank you all for watching, and I hope you guys find some value in this video. What I'm going to share with you is kind of the process that I go through when I'm planning an overnight kayaking trip. This isn't meant to be an in-depth video where I go through each step and explain them in depth. It's more like an overview of all the different steps and some of the thinking that I go through when planning a trip. As I explain to you the process, I'm going to be throwing out some little jabs, little tidbits of information that I'm sure you'll find valuable. So you may want to take notes, and you might even have to watch this thing twice because I'm going to be throwing out a lot of good information to you pretty quick. If you would like to see some of the topics and stuff that I'm about to discuss here kind of talked about in a little more depth in a future video, be sure to leave a like on this video and comment what you want to learn more about, and it may make you another video. All right, let's get started. The first thing that you probably have to have if you're planning an overnight adventure is a location. Where are you going to go? I actually have a list of locations written down, some that I've brainstormed about or some that I've heard about that you guys have shared with me. I have it written down, and I also have some spots in my head, or just I know some spots on Google Maps where I want to go in the future. So I have a general idea, but a great way to find places to go is just, search in your local area of kayaking trips, or just look at rivers and stuff, or bodies of water, lakes, or the coast, whatnot. And I'm sure there's somewhere to do an adventure around you, unless you live in the middle of the desert, which you probably won't be watching these kayaking videos. The first resource I usually go to is Google Maps. I love Google Maps. I go there and I just look all around the location where I want to go. I look for different things like marinas, parking, different places of interest, where I'm going to be camping, things like that. Basically, though, this step, I'm just finding a water source, somewhere to go and get out there. It's not that difficult. Then I usually look for a starting and stopping point. If it's a river, I'm going to be looking for bridges with access to the water, also boat ramps with access to the water, parks with access to the water, just anywhere where I can get to the water easily and get out of the water. Sometimes you have to get creative, but you can usually find somewhere to park. If not, you may have to get a buddy to help you out, to help shuttle you. The next step is gathering info on that location, on that destination. So where do I go for this? I go to good old Google. And I go to Facebook. Facebook is probably where I usually go first because there's usually a lot of really good information there. I'll go and I'll look for local kayaking or camping groups or pages, and a lot of times there'll be a lot of people, just people on there who really know their stuff and really know the area, and that's a great resource. And then I'll go and I'll look for maybe a canoe livery or a kayaking guide company who does trips down this river or in this particular area. Or I may talk to some local fishermen. You can go to Facebook fishing groups and things like that. These guys usually know their stuff, so it's a really good resource. Of course, one of the greatest resources, as you guys know, is YouTube videos. I'll go and search YouTube, kayak camping in this particular spot, and a lot of times something will come up, but they're not always really good information on them. Sometimes you'll get lucky and there will be, but a lot of times if you just watch the videos, you can kind of get a lay of the land, get a lay of the water, how fast it's going, what it's like, maybe where they parked, maybe where they camped, things like that. So there's a lot of things that you can learn. You just got to pay attention. Lastly, I'll just go search Google. I'll just search kayak camping this particular place, or just camping this particular place, or whatnot, and I'll just see if I can find something. See if I can, find someone's past trip, a trip report of this particular location, because a lot of times people don't always make the video, or they're not always part of a Facebook group, and it could be 15 years old back when all that stuff didn't exist. So a lot of times people have done these trips in the past, so it just takes a little digging to find them. All the time while I'm gathering this information, I'm making notes. I may be taking notes in a Word document or something about places of interest, whether it's, waterfalls, places to snorkel, places to swim, rope swings, springs, different things like that, or camping spots, hiking trails, or caves along the way, just different places of interest to explore. Maybe there's some parks along the river with something neat that you guys need to see. One quick little hack is to get on Google and search the location. Let's say you're going to the Choctawhatchee River. Type in the Choctawhatchee River and then go to Google Images and search the images. And A lot of times people will have taken a photo of something cool, something unique that you need to see, or that would be cool to see. Or maybe it's a photo of them camping on the side of the river, and you're like, oh my goodness, where's this posted? And you go there and it's a full trip report of where they were camping. Or, maybe there's some really unique stuff or some cool history about the river or something, or the location that you're planning on going, and you can find it that way. Because those can also lead you to other places that are full of information, whether it be a forum or a thread in a forum where they're talking about this place, or a Facebook page. There's all kind of stuff you can get from the images. Something else you can search for is, let's say you're going to the Choctawhatchee River. Whoa, the lights just blinked. Let's say you can search the Choctawhatchee River paddling trail, or the Suwannee paddling trail, or the Chipola River paddling trail, or whatever, wherever you're going. Search for the paddling trail, because it could be already set up. There could be campsites and everything already made for you to go paddling down and camping on an adventure. And that's always handy, because they have the mileages, points of interest, where you can and cannot camp, if you need to make reservations to camp. Just a lot of good put-in places, maybe some companies that do the shuttling for you, so those can be really good if you can find one of those. While we're on the gathering information subject, something else that I'll be doing, I'll be taking notes of all this stuff that I'm finding, all the places of interest, where I can park, maybe people are mentioning mileages and things like that, and I will be preparing to compile a map. And I usually create my own maps. I will measure the mileages in Google Earth, and I have videos about this, exactly how to measure the mileages, how to put place marks on it, how to print these maps out for yourself. I've created I think it's a 2-part video on how to make your own maps. You can check that out. There'll be a link below to that video. So that's a very good resource, and it's fun to do, and you can learn a lot. And it's nice to know your mileages, and you can get pretty accurate over there on Google Earth. Next up, we got to think, okay, where do we camp? Can we camp? Is it legal to camp? Are there good places to camp? Am I going to be in a hammock? Yes, I normally am, or actually I pretty much always am. All right, well, I need to find somewhere with trees. If I'm going to a coastal area, how am I going to find somewhere with trees? Well, I may, go to Google Images, and maybe there's a little island or a little beach that I see on Google Maps, so I can search that island or search that beach or search that pass or whatever that area, and a lot of times there'll be pictures of the shore, and you can see, okay, those trees look good enough for camping, or, oh my goodness, there's no trees there. We may need to find somewhere else, or we may need to really stoop down and bring a tent. Or just keep looking harder for trees. That's what I do. Something else I also look for is civilization, and also more on the note of, is it legal? Do I need to be stealthy when I camp there? Or is it iffy if I should camp there? Well, if it's iffy, then I may see, okay, are there houses around here? Are there businesses? Is this a place frequented by tourists or something? How can I get a little bit off the beaten path just in case I need to? So I'll look inland from the shore and be sure there's not houses or whatever, businesses and things close by that may or may not enjoy me being there. I do like to kind of try to camp by something interesting, where there might be something to do, especially like wading in the grass out on the coast and catching crabs, or somewhere nearby to snorkel, or maybe I want to have a 0 day the next day and not go anywhere, so I want to have my camp in a central location where it's nearby to this place I want to go eat, or nearby to this place I want to go snorkeling, or a place I want to go fishing, or whatnot. So, try to strategically place your campsite if you can. Sometimes in order to do this, you may have to camp places where you may or may not be able to camp, but location is important. Hold up, pause it. I want to take a moment and give a shout out to a couple of new patrons. Well, one's new, one is just a even awesomer patron. We have Derek Saylor, who was a $10 patron who upped his patronage to $25. Holy moly, there must be some good stuff going on over there at Patreon. And also Daniel Wininger. Love you, Daniel, but I may be butchering your name. I hope I got it at least once. But Daniel is a $10 supporter. Thank you, Daniel, for signing up. I do encourage y'all, at least just go check out Patreon, see what it is, see if it's something you want to be a part of. Must be something good over there, huh? Yeah, of course there is. All right, back to the good stuff. If I'm going to be paddling down a river, when I'm making my maps, I will be measuring the mileages, and I'll say, okay, I'm going to do 10 miles, or I may do 15 miles, or 20 miles this day. So I'll be looking where those mileages end up, and maybe looking for a sandbar and say, okay, maybe I should stop at this sandbar because there's nothing for another 5 or 10 miles past that. That is a problem that I've kind of run into in the past where, you'll be paddling down a river and you'll be thinking, okay, I need to make camp. Well, there won't be anything. You'll be paddling and it'll be getting dark and you'll just have to sacrifice and stop somewhere that's not the best camp when you just pass one up. So doing that research beforehand can sometimes help. It's kind of hard to know for sure if you're going to have good campsites along the banks, but if you're not sure and you can stand to have a little bit shorter day and still finish your, how many miles you can do the next day, sometimes it's good just to go ahead and stop whenever you find a good campsite, especially if they've been few and far in between. Or if the river is going to drastically change, like if it goes from being real curvy, a lot of times there's decent spots to camp when the river's curvy. But if it's straight, a lot of times I've found in my area, that's where there's not so many great places to camp. So that's something to think about. See, I told you there'd be some good tidbits of information in here. I wasn't even planning on mentioning that. That just came to my head just now. Oh, that's why I'm a professional. Watch my videos and you'll know that that's not true. Next up, something you need to consider is the weather. You may be planning this trip 3 months out, or you may be planning it 3 weeks out, or 3 days out. So, you can kind of get an idea of the weather. Maybe if you're planning it 3 months or a year in advance, and it's for a area that's you're not local to and you don't know, you can go and you can check the annual or the average temperatures for that time of year at that particular place. That can be pretty handy. So then you'll know, okay, do I need to pack more? Do I need to take a different kayak? Or, how do I need to prepare for that weather? What type of insulation do I need to pack for my hammock or for my sleeping bag? Blah, blah, blah. How much clothes do I need to bring to stay warm? Or how much clothes do I not need to bring because I want to pack as light and small as possible so I can have as much fun as possible? Also, what type of footwear do I need to bring? Do I need to bring footwear that I can going to be getting in the water all the time because the water is going to be nice or kind of nice? Or do I need to bring something there where I don't need to get wet at all? Or do I need to bring 2 pairs of shoes or whatnot? The water temperature can be very important to know, and the air temperature, because if you have wet, cold feet and you have no other shoes, you can be uncomfortable. I am lucky enough that I do have 2 crafts to paddle. I have a 16.5-foot touring kayak and I have a stand-up paddleboard. So I will pick which one I need to bring on this adventure. If it's a river trip that's a long distance trip on a big, wide, maybe slow moving river, I'm probably going to take my touring kayak. Or if I'm going to the coast and I'm going to be paddling across a lot of open water in order to get to my next camping spot or whatnot, I'm probably going to be taking my touring kayak. If I'm going down a river where I know the water's flowing, maybe there's rocks and fun stuff, and I don't have a lot of miles to do, and I'm just kind of going, just having a good time, I'm going to be taking the stand-up paddleboard. If I'm going to the coast and I don't have really far to go, and maybe there's not a lot of wind in the forecast, and I know the weather is going to be great and awesome, going to be getting in the water a lot, I'm probably going to bring the stand-up paddleboard. Some people may only have one craft to paddle, which is fine, because anything that'll get you out there gets you out there. That's what it's all about, to get out there. You guys have heard me say that before, I'm sure. The next thing that I like to think about is my food. Okay, I like to plan my food on a per day, per meal basis. I will, figure out how many calories I need, how much I'll be burning, and I'll actually write down all that. I have a video on that, and it's like how to plan your food for a guy or something. I have a video on that. I'll link it below, and you guys can check that out. It shows how I plan my meals day by day. And I always, bring what I need, plus a little bit more, because I may get hungry or I may get lost and need that extra food. Along with food, you also have to think about water. Okay, are there going to be any fresh water sources that you can get water from, or are you going to be somewhere coastal where you need to bring all your water? Is the water going to be suitable for filtering? Most of it is going to be suitable for filtering. I don't know, that's kind of up for debate. I'm going to filter pretty much anything and I'm going to drink it. But, is there going to be water for you to filter, or are your campsites, do they have running water, or are you going to be passing, say, a store or a boat ramp or something that has running water? Again, you're going to learn that from your gathering info step. A lot of times it can be nice, especially if you're going on a extended saltwater trip, and you have to bring a lot of water. If it's the dead of summer and you're bringing, a gallon a day to drink, if you can make a stop, if you can find somewhere to refill your water, that'll save you a lot of weight and a lot of space in your kayak. And, the less weight, the easier it is to paddle your craft. How much water do I bring? I bring anywhere between a minimum of 100 ounces of water to a gallon of water, 128 ounces per day. And, that can depend on the temperature or how much water is in my food. If I'm bringing a soup or something, I'm going to count that as water. If I'm bringing, something else, a food that has a lot of moisture in it, I'm going to count that as some of my water. Maybe I'm bringing a can or a jar of fruit or something or another. You can take that into consideration so you're not just bringing a ton of water that you don't need. I've seen people bring a lot more water than the whole group needed at times. Just be careful not to overpack because, if you overpack, that can make just everything a lot more difficult. Harder to paddle your kayak, harder to load and unload it, harder to drag it up on the beach at the end of the day. If you have a lot of deadfalls and trees you got to drag over or shallow water, the heavier your kayak is, just, I don't know, the more difficult things are going to be for you. We already talked about clothing a little bit, but that's something really to consider. You want some long sleeves, even in the summertime, to protect you from the sun. Maybe a wide rim hat, or if you're going in the wintertime, be sure you have plenty of layers. But be sure you have a dry bag that is just dry clothes that you know is going to stay dry, just in case you capsize and everything gets wet, and you're cold and wet, and you get to camp and everything else is cold and wet. You don't want that to happen. That could be bad. Although, I did test that in a video, and I soaked all my stuff. You guys should watch that. It was cold, and it was wet, and it was fun. Check it out. Link below to that one, too. So, next up in the process, we're getting a little closer to time to go, so it's time to start packing my gear. I usually do this a day before, maybe 2 or 3 days before my trip. I have a gear list that I will bring out, and just to be sure that I bring everything, and even still that doesn't work because I usually always forget something, whether it's usually on the gear list or it's not, or something special I wanted to bring, or I don't know. I just usually forget something. Maybe I forgot it in the truck. I brought it, but I forgot it in the truck like on my last trip when I forgot my spork because I was eating ice cream that morning. It sucks to forget your sport. But, use a list. You're welcome to download my list. I've got a link to that below. You can download the list, so hopefully you don't forget too much. But when you pack up all your stuff, check everything twice. Be sure your dry bags are good. Be sure to pack a few extra dry bags. I always have a few extra dry bags in my truck, just in case. Now, me personally, something else I have to bring along is camera gear. I bring my big camera, I bring a small camera, I bring a light, I bring tripods, I bring batteries, battery chargers, cords. A lot of stuff goes into filming these videos. One of the last things you need to do, be sure you do before you leave, especially if you're going on a solo trip like I do most of the time, is let someone know where you're going. Sometimes I used to do this a lot, is I would make a map and put it on the refrigerator of where I'm going to be, where I plan on camping, but I've been doing it so much here lately, a lot of times, only my wife knows where I'm going, and she doesn't even know where it is that I'm going. I just tell her, she's like, hey, where are you going tomorrow? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to such and such. She's like, okay, whatever. But it is wise to have a good float plan and leave it with someone. Kind of just told on myself, but whatever. Something else that a lot of people may overlook when preparing is, what about your nutrition and hydration preparing for a trip in the days leading up to it? If you're going out in the hot summer heat and you don't normally drink a lot of water, or you drink a lot of Cokes or something or other, I really highly suggest you, if you don't do it all the time, drink a lot of water the first few days before your trip, and eat some good nutritious food. I think you should do it all the time, but at least do it before your trip, because preparing can mean a lot. It can mean your life. You get dehydrated or something out there, a lot of times dehydration can knock some people down pretty seriously. I know some people who had to call off trips early because they were dehydrated. So don't let that be you. The last thing to do is just calm down, relax, don't let the stress overwhelm you for the trip, and get out there. Just make it happen. Just go. You could probably handle yourself and handle all the fun that's going to be coming your way in your next paddling adventure. Wow, that was probably a lot of information. I hope you found it valuable, and I have covered some of the stuff more in depth already in the past in some videos. I'll link to those below. Be sure you check those out. And if you want to learn some more about some of the subjects, hey, leave a like and comment below on what you'd like to learn more about, and you may see that soon in an upcoming video. Hey, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for just being there. Thanks for being a subscriber. Take care, folks. God bless.